In the world, there are many religions, and each religion attempts either to make man better or to respond to some specific challenges in specific contexts and perhaps to an extent of individuals. And as far as human life is concerned, the human experience has four major questions that the human heart has reeled with since the fall of man. Four major questions which can be defined or can be summarized as where, how, and what. They can also be said to be questions of origin, morality, purpose, and destiny. And it is only biblical Christianity which satisfactorily would answer those questions. So when we talk about origin, what are we talking about? Beginning in a micro level, where did I come from? In a macro level, it can be seen as where is the origin of the universe, or how did the universe come to be? The question of origin. The question of morality. How am I supposed to live in this world? Or what are my moral obligations as far as I am alive in this planet? There is a question of purpose. Why am I here? Am I just a random particle in the vast sea of humanity? Or was I created for a specific mission, for a specific assignment, and a specific purpose? And then the question of destiny. Where am I going? By the end of it all, when all is said and done, what awaits for me beyond this physical life? Or what people would say, beyond the grave. What is awaiting for me beyond the grave? And it is only Christianity that has satisfactorily, and when I say satisfactorily, I'm not trying to bring a degree of comparison, because the answer to those four questions in Christianity are final and well put. Thinking about the origin, the Bible is very clear that in the beginning, it is God who created the heavens and the earth. And when we read Genesis chapter 1, like I keep on saying, and I've told some people elsewhere, that true science is born out of understanding of the events of Genesis chapter 1. Of course, there are corroborations, like in the book of Job chapter 38, chapter 39, chapter 40, and even Psalm chapter 104. It is a corroboration as to marvelous creation, marvelous work of God in the creation of the universe. when it comes to morality again, God as the moral authority, God as the lawgiver has been documented in hundreds of pages of the scriptures, beginning with the commands that he gave Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden when he chose to effect the plans of redemption from the sacrifices of Cain and Abel, from the resurrection, from the flood, the time of Noah, from the inception of the family of Abraham, all the way through to the last book of the Bible. We see that God is the moral foundation and originator of morality, upon which he gives us his will, he reveals his will, and he also tells us his expectations on us. And the most important thing which comes is that not only does he demand something, but he has chosen to intervene through bringing helps so that morality is responded to through the power that he gives through his Holy Spirit. From the commandments, from the institutions of worship, beginning with the Hebrew people, through Judaism and the temple, even to the time the church is born. And we also see that a big chunk of the New Testament talks about morality and sanctification, which means that God expects human beings to have moral standing and value through discipline and obedience. So the question of purpose, why am I here? One of the philosophers says that the end of man is the glory of God, meaning that man was not just created, but man was created for the glory of God. Man was created so that God is glorified through him. Man was created to please God. And even as a co-regent, remember God said, let us make man in our own image, in our own likeness, and let him have dominion. And I teased a gentleman, we had that discussion with some times ago, and told him that this dominion, in my view, is a concept of engineering. Because, as it were, in simple terms, engineering is the harnessing of the forces of nature for the benefit of man. God said, let us make man in our own image, in our own likeness, so that they might have dominion. So this dominion is the engineering we're talking about. And beyond that, then, man fell. And as thus, God needed to cooperate with man, so that this man is going to talk about God to fellow men who may need to have this knowledge. So, the purposes of God also revolves around man telling the other man about God. And of course, there will be disputations. There are those people that do not believe there is God. And I wonder then, why is it that one would have a rabid hatred of something non-existent? That does not sound logical. Why would I have a rabid hatred against some non-existent thing? So as thus, we need to know that man was created with a purpose. Then, the question of destiny. Where am I going? In his last remarks, or few days before his exit, Moses asked the children of Israel, and I believe that should be in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, if I'm not wrong, whereby the children of Israel were told to choose. Moses said that he's a witness, and he told them to choose between life and death. And so, destiny, all of us will have an appointment with destiny. And the decisions that we make right now of how we respond to God will either determine whether we will go to spend eternity with Him or will have a lost eternity. And interestingly, Christianity is the only religion, and I say quote in quotes because Christianity is a person, Christianity is a relationship. It is only Christianity that has comprehensive answers about what awaits the universe and what is the destiny thereof of the universe. It is only Christianity that can answer that satisfactorily, not any other religion. And that has been encapsulated in the discipline, in the theological discipline of eschatology, or the study of the last things, beginning from the very personal eschatology, what happens after death, and then growing to from micro to macro, the intermediate, what happens in between, and then what happens in eternity. Christianity gives definite answers towards that. And we have, there are so many scriptures that talks about the destiny of the universe from the Old Testament, and also the prophets would speak about it in various interactions as they made their prophecies. Jesus himself spoke about what would happen. The apostles, Apostle Paul, Apostle John, Apostle Peter, and other writers of the New Testament would say the same. And we have a book that is specifically giving information about what will happen to the universe and everything else that is related to it. And that is the apocalyptic book of Revelation. And so, having said all that, Christianity makes sense because comprehensively and objectively answers the question of origin, morality, purpose, and destiny. And anybody in doubt can glean through the scriptures and find out the answers to some of the problematic questions that might be coming in their mind. And the Bible or Christianity does not assume, does not bring an otherworldly kind of dimension by saying that there is nothing to be done here on earth. In fact, we have the books of wisdom. And specifically, we have the book of Proverbs and the book of Ecclesiastes, which were written by Solomon. And their books are very specific. They are philosophical in that they ask deep penetrating questions about life, about vanity, about how one ought to live their lives. So that means what? It means that there is no assumption There is no assumption in Christianity as to what is and what is not. And so, my belief and the strongest indication that Christianity is true is based on those four and the comprehensive aspect upon which those hard questions are answered.